In this video, we are going to be using the SuperSET software in order to check some of our settings within our AC50 that is currently connected. So the first thing we have is our wizard carbon button, which when we select this, it will prompt us to make sure that we overwrite local parameters here on the software with values from the AC50 itself, and we will say yes. This will pull in all current values that are in the AC50. Here we can see that it right now is set up to do carbon calculation. There's also options for dew point, millivolt, or oxygen calculation. We can also look at our carbon potentials as well as our burn-off information, our burn-off time, minimum, maximum recoveries, and you could also initiate a burn-off or abort a burn-off that is currently in operation. By selecting the back button, we also have the wizard settings button. We will again overwrite local parameters with values directly from the AC50 that is connected. Here we can see on the first info tab, it is going to give us our software version as well as the serial number of the instrument we are communicating to. We can now look at the inputs. So for input 1, which is our probe TC type, we can see that it is a number. That number would represent a TC type in this menu, whether it would be an S or a K. We can also see our analog input 3 type. This is your probe millivolts. This is always defaulted to 0 to 2.4 volts with the asterisk, which is for high impedance. We can also look at our outputs. Here we have relay output 1, relay output 2, relay output 3, and relay output 4. Our default settings are gas for 1, air for 2, alarm 3 for output 3, and burn off for relay output 4. If we return back to our main display, we can also view the linear analog outputs under the parameters section. When this comes up, within this side menu listing, we will look for our output analog option, and we can then select output analog 1, and this tells us the settings. So the output is set for direct, and it's set for heating and a 4 to 20 milliamp. Our analog output 2 is set for direct, 4 to 20 milliamp, and a cooling. So this would be our air addition. Output 1 would be our gas addition. You can also view settings in this parameters view regarding the burn off. We have time, start mode, frequencies. We can look at our inputs here as well. We would minimize the analog output, and then we can go to the input menu and select which input we would like. Input 1, it tells us here our TC type, also our unit of measurement, whether in Fahrenheit or Celsius, and the probe millivolt input, 0 to 2.4 volt high impedance. When you're completed with looking at your menus in the parameter window, you can then return to the wizard. Once you're completely done with your AC50 and any settings that you may be changing or necessarily checking, selecting the red X will disconnect and prompt if you would like to save any changes you may have made to your computer. This concludes the AC50 and SuperSET software.